Hey everyone, it's Dr. K. So, clients come in to us in all sorts of different levels of pain and dysfunction, but ultimately what they're looking for is clarity on the problem they're dealing with. Now, that's what we really pride ourselves on being world class at doing. In order to create long-lasting change, we need to address the root cause of the problem. That's what we're really good at finding. But I think it is helpful to understand the types of pain that are out there. That way you have better context, you're better informed, and you know when it's necessary for you to make a good choice, to make a good clinical decision, to get something looked at, and who you might want to actually see. So there are essentially three different types of pain. The first one that most of us are all familiar with is called nociceptive pain. So everyone experiences this at some point in their life. Basically, it's a response to the body from an external output from the environment. And so the terminals or the nerve endings in your finger, for instance, the sensory information triggers a cascade of events to the spinal cord, and then it gets processed through different terminals, and it tries to figure out whether or not it needs to go up to the brain, to the central nervous system, or if it can be dealt with on its own. Now, once it's in the brain, it's categorized as possibly pain or something that's just uncomfortable or strange that we experience, and we don't really have to worry about. So basically, the nociceptive pain is basically you're feeling something from an external environment, like maybe a nail brushing against your skin, and your brain's trying to interpret whether or not it's a threat. Now, in a general sense, that's essentially how nociceptive pain works when we're thinking about exercise and movement. If we're thinking about those things, you're processing whether or not something is, risk or noxious to your body. So if you're having a painful episode of knee pain while you're running or you're deadlifting, your body says, hey, like something is going on here. When my knee is bending and extending, it's creating some sort of localized irritability. That's nociceptive pain. Now, the second type of pain is it's still manageable, but it's different. It's called neuropathic pain, and it's where more specifically an impairment of the peripheral nervous system exists. So the peripheral nervous system is basically outside of the spinal cord, and if we're thinking about that, you're probably you can put it in context by thinking about sciatica. Now, sciatica can be described as radiating back or hip pain into the back of the legs, even as far down as the foot. And so that's neuropathic pain because it follows the path of the peripheral nerve that's being irritated outside the nervous system. Now, usually in our clinical practice, someone might be describing neuropathic pain and they're talking about shooting pain down their legs or arms, or maybe it's lightning bolt pain, or maybe they're talking about sensory changes like, it just feels fuzziness in their arm, or maybe it's numbness, tingling in their foot. So, a peripheral nerve injury predominantly involves the peripheral nervous system, and this is where these folks are getting their pain generated from. Last is nocioplastic pain or centralized pain. This is where centralization, of pain triggers a cascade of events where now, one single episode becomes chronic in nature, and that's basically pain that lasts longer than 3 months. So this is where someone might have done, all the therapy at all the different houses. They've gone through the ringer of specialty visits and consults. They've done diagnostic imaging, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's not a clear picture of where this pain is actually coming from. So for whatever reason, the processing in the central nervous system in your brain starts to get fuzzy, and it's looking for more information to make sense of all this mess. And so the brain essentially wants more information, and the easiest way to think of increasing information is by making the peripheral nervous system more sensitive. And so it's gaining more information from the peripheral nervous system outside the spinal cord, more information from the environment, and it's trying to process all this at the spinal cord and central nervous system to get information on what is the root cause of this pain? Why is this pain? Now, the problem with this is you create a cascade of events where everything is so sensitive that even the most normal stimulus can overload the peripheral nervous system, and then that creates pain, and then that pain gets shot up to the brain doesn't understand it, and so it says, okay, I need more information, so let's make everything more sensitive all over again for more information. And it just goes in this noxious loop over and over again. So living in pain is, not a normal state of being, but I hope that it helps you to categorize the type of pain you might be experiencing in your own life, and it gives you an idea about, when it should warrant additional investigation. Generally speaking, we're big proponents on fixing things ourselves and, us like being very self-sufficient, but, we all need a helping hand from time to time. So I hope this information was useful. Let me know if you have any questions. Stay strong, inspire others.